legislative, executive, and judicial powers under the Lunacy Regulation Ireland Act 1871. This government is operating in tandem with our present government. The result of this is we are in very much a situation that we could lose our sovereignty as a nation because two governments, one from the crown, a monarch who has refused to renounce his title, he's now operating alongside our present government, and this has been going on for the past 100 years. Now, this declaration that I will read out will be open for signification, and then we'll go online. The result of this is that at the present moment, I will be sending this to the Taoiseach, to the Seanad, and to the President, who has two powers which most people don't realize. He has a second power to reconvene the Dáil in exceptional and unusual circumstances. What we have here is a constitutional crisis because, in fact, all our courts are operating illegally because the Courts of Justice Act 1924 has never been commenced.
We have a bit of order, please.
This is entitled A Public Declaration of the Sovereign People of Eire, otherwise referred to as Ireland in the English language. Whereas, pursuant to Parach na Éireann, the Articles of our Constitution of Ireland 1937, and in recognition of our people's inherent inalienable rights as enumerated within those constitutions, which are derived and bestowed on all citizens of the nation, that guarantee protection and vindication through separation of powers between the legislative, executive, and judicial branches of government, with the people having the final say in exercising the protection of our sovereignty and fundamental rights to freedom, justice, peace, law, and order for the family and the common good without interference from Crown-enabled legislation, royal prerogatives, or royal decree from the monarchy of the United Kingdom. And whereas it is apparent and evident that the leaders of the three government branches are neglecting their oaths of office to defend and protect our Constitution, with the result that our fundamental rights and sovereignty is breached and under threat by willful design of those in power to ignore the fact that the Attorney General on the 20th of December 2019 has failed to produce, pursuant to sections 4, 5, and 6 of the Documentary Evidence Act 1925, the original of Commencement Order Number 1, dated the 4th of June 1924, for the Courts of Justice Act 1924, that being the necessary legal statutory instrument to enable the Courts of Justice Act 1924 to take effect and become the lawful foundation of our justice system. I'll just pause here for a moment, and everyone here should go to the National Archives and they will see what I have discovered, that there is only a draft of the commencement order. The original does not exist in the archives. I don't know what has happened. I have spoken about this on Corruption Awareness Ireland. And whereas Section 19 of the Courts of Justice Act 1924 was alleged to empower the successor to the Lord Chancellor of Ireland, presently Justice Peter Kelly, through the Crown-enabled Lunacy Regulation Ireland Act 1871 to deal with matters of lunacy and unsoundness of mind pursuant to its provisions, but never lawfully achieved that purpose at that time, and has not lawfully achieved that purpose since creation of Section 9 of the Courts of Justice Act 1936, purportedly transferring that power. Nor has it been achieved that purpose by subsequent legislation purportedly vesting power through Section 9 of the Court Supplemental Provisions Act 1961, because of the fact that tripartite legislative, executive, judicial powers by royal prerogative from the United Kingdom ceased and desisted with the last Lord Chancellor of Ireland, John Ross, circa 1919 to 1920. And whereas it is a fact, the present self-proclaimed successor to the Lord Chancellor, now he is self-proclaimed, Justice Peter Kelly, has refused to renounce his self-proclaimed title of nobility on the 20th of November 2019 in Court 4 at the Four Courts Dublin 7, despite the fact of no proof existing that the royal prerogative from the British Crown passed from the United Kingdom, resulting in fraudulent acceptance of a title of nobility, a clear breach of his oath of office to uphold the Constitution, and it is contrary to Article 34, Section 6.1, and Article 40, as follows at Sections 2.1. According to the Constitution, titles of nobility shall not be conferred by the state. Section 2.2. No title of nobility or honor may be accepted by any citizen except with the prior approval of the government. And whereas, because the successor to the Lord Chancellor, Justice Peter Kelly, when asserting and exercising power pursuant to the Lunacy Regulation Ireland Act 1871, is possessed of tripart legislative, executive, and judicial powers, he is in strict conflict with our plebiscite separation of powers Constitution, with the effect that the successor to the Lord Chancellor is in fact a monarchical government acting in tandem with, in conflict against, and contrary to our Bunrachnaheran Constitution of Ireland, with the result that a constitutional crisis has ensued at the hands of agents of the state whose actions threaten our sovereignty and nationhood by acting contrary to the will of the people who have reserved unto themselves in the Constitution the right of choice by referendum to have the final say in relation to the purported representative of the monarchy being allowed to operate as a government alongside our own government, which demands strict separation of powers under the Constitution. And whereas the Oireachtas, with Dáil Éireann, headed by Leo Varadkar, derived from a coalition of Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, independent TDs, and Seanad Éireann, headed by Jerry Buttimer, both houses having a duty to immediately resolve this constitutional crisis. The people herein undersigned by handwriting on this declaration document and by signification of the declaration online, now herein delivered to and seal with an ordinary stamp this declaration as a petition directed to the President of Ireland, Michael D. Higgins, to exercise his powers pursuant to the provisions of Article 13 of the Constitution to reconvene the recently dissolved Dáil Éireann and Seanad Éireann to sort out the aforementioned constitutional crisis without delay on or before this Friday, the 24th of January 2020. Signed, sealed, and delivered by the undersigned people in our own handwriting on this 21st day of January 2020, and subsequently opened online for electronic signification to the public, with duly effected service by personal service and or postal service and or email service to the following constitutionally elected representatives of the government and the President: Michael D. Higgins at Áras an Uachtaráin, Leo Varadkar at Dáil Éireann, Leinster House, and also Office of the Taoiseach, and Jerry Buttimer at Seanad Éireann, Leinster House. This is a copy here. The original is a hard copy with the seal in color, which will be open for signification. And there's additional pages for, if there's not enough room on this first page, which there won't be for maybe, possibly, I'd say 10, maybe 10, 15 signatures. It'll be on here, you can sign. I will sign first, and
we're online, Pat.
Anyone else who wants to sign second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, I would be grateful, 8th and 9th. And then it will continue on page 4, the signatures. This will go up online, and we hope to have this published in the daily newspaper in Dublin. This will be delivered to the President. We now are operating unlawfully, the courts. We now have a government that is in total conflict because we have a crown monarch exercising crown powers. One man possessed with the same amount of powers as our present government. The result of this is that we may have to bring about a new proclamation redeclaring the first government of 1919 to be the official government of Ireland.
Yeah! Well, Pat.